recording this. I always forget to do that, but I'm going to start recording this. So I don't remember if you were both on the call the other day when we went through assignment number 5, probably in more detail than you wanted, but okay, you were not. That was Denise saying that. How was it for you, Denise? Was it a little easier to do? I know you just turned. Oh, Lance, now I can hear you. I know you just turned in a couple of things, Denise. So I haven't looked at them yet, so I don't know where we are with your work. But Lance, okay. How about you, Lance? How was the last assignment? And again, I haven't really been in town. I'm out of town right now, so I didn't get a chance to look into these assignments today. See who turned them in and who did not. But do you have any questions that are left over, either one of you, about number
5? I don't have any questions. I don't think at this point I got my mic fixed.
Okay, good. Yeah, I hear that. I can hear you.
Yeah, I think for me it's just the difficulty of the length of, all the data outputs and making it concise and all those kinds of things, but it's maybe getting a little easier.
Did you see Liliana's recommendation about importing the analyses, the output?
I think I had seen something.
Yeah, it's on the forum. You might take a look at it because I think her strategy, because somebody was complaining the other day about how long it takes to cut and paste each little section, and her recommendation was to run all of the analyses that you're going to need all at once, and then you import the entire document, and then it's easier to delete. But I mean, I'm basically distilling down a lot of what you said. Her comments are a lot more easy to follow than what I'm saying to you, but that was sort of the gist of it. And so that would be something that if you haven't looked at it, you take a look at her recommendation on how to save some time on cutting and pasting.
And I did see that was helpful.
Okay, great. Okay. The other thing that and hopefully you're all pretty much on board with this. Really, in every situation, you ought to formulate hypotheses before you do your analyses. And specifically, while what we're testing statistically is the null hypothesis, what you really want to formulate is a directional hypothesis. You're about how it's going to come out. Because otherwise, when you get to doing the Bonferronis, for example, and if you didn't make a prediction that you think men are going to make more money than women, when you get to the Bonferronis and there's a significant difference between men and women, you're going to have a hard time relating it to anything. So the way to proceed would be to make a prediction. I think that men are going to, my hypothesis is that men will have a significantly higher salary than women. That's your hypothesis. Or women will have a significantly higher a salary than men. That could be a fine hypothesis. Then you do the analysis. You see that there's a significant main effect due to sex. You do you don't have to do Bonferroni because there are only 2 groups, but you look at the means. You see that the mean for the men is indeed higher than the mean for the women. And because it's a significant difference, you go, aha, my hypothesis that men would get a significantly higher salary than women is supported by the data. So I really want you to get the connection between the stats and the research that you're doing beforehand, because stats is kind of an abstraction. It uses Greek letters. It summarizes a whole bunch of information in little Greek letters in a formula, and if all you focus is on that, it probably doesn't make sense. But if you think about what you really want to know is, gee, do men make more money than women, and is that a significant difference? The thing you first have to start with is that hypothesis, and then you go through the process. And the process by now should be pretty familiar. You go through and you look to see about outliers and about shapes of distribution, and other descriptive information about your sample. How missing values are handled, is there homogeneity of variance, and so forth and so on. First step: what have I got? What does my data look like? Second step is, if you're asked to, and most of our assignments we don't actually ask you to do that, transform the data or recode the data if the case, applies, and then go through the process of doing the actual analysis that you're being asked to do. And when you put it all together, what we want, again, really, I'm trying to make this as clear as I can. I think most of you already know this already, is every piece of output that you present, I want to see below why you're presenting it to me. Why are you showing me this? Oh, this is where I'm looking to see if they're outliers. And when I look at this output, I see that this group has a lot of outliers on this end of the distribution, and that group doesn't. Just a comment like that. So every piece of output should have a comment that goes along with it. And then same thing with when you do your the overall analysis, which are I guess the goal, the final goal of doing the assignment. What are you noticing? Where is there significance? Which main effect is significant, or which main effects are significant? Which interaction is significant? And if in one of those main effects there are more than two groups, then you have to do some kind of a multiple comparison. In the assignments we've recommended you do Bonferroni. There are a whole bunch of others. And in fact, one of the students used a different kind of multiple comparison, which is fine. I don't have any problem with that. But use the Bonferronis to learn how to use them, so do them at this point. But then comment on that. Which groups are significantly different from which other ones, and in what direction? And that's where the mean becomes important. Because if you say, the Bonferroni shows that the men and the women get different amounts of salary, my question to you is, well, which one gets a higher salary? And if that's a significant difference, which one is it that's getting the higher salary? I want to know that. So these are just a couple of little tips about, how to write this up. And then at the end, we're always going to ask you for a summary. So in the summary, tell us what you did. First we examine the data for outliers, for mixing values, for the distribution of scores. You can put more or less detail. We did it by doing A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever it is. Then we, after cleaning the data, or after transforming the data, or after using the transformed data file, we did an analysis of covariance. We used this variable as covariate. This was, there was the main effect. There was a main effect due to gender. There was a main effect due to race, and then there was the interaction of the two. The main effect due to gender was significant. You report the F value. In parentheses, you put the degrees of freedom for that F value. You put the actual number, so it equals 12.75 or whatever it is. You put the p-level, is it or is it not significant? You put the effect size. And then you tell us about whether the contrast between the two gender groups. It's called a contrast. It's not called the main effect is gender significant. The contrast is where you take the groups within those two things and you contrast them. You compare them. So the contrast was significant, and you tell us what it is. That men had a mean of 12.73, and women had a mean of 0.32, which was a significant difference. So in your summary, you go through all of that. Again, repeating, some of it's repetition, but it's talking about the process you got, and then you can even say, actually not requiring this, but it'd be nice if you did this, that therefore this hypothesis was supported or was not supported by the data. So really the purpose for learning stats is to be able to take data and interpret it and make sense of it. And that's what I want to tie it in with the actual data piece. I hope that makes some sense. And if you have questions about that process, I'm really just repeating stuff that I've said before that hopefully is second nature to you at this point. But if it's not, I want to make sure that it becomes so. So questions about that? Okay, good. Thanks, Denise. Should we move on to the upcoming assignments? And I don't have my syllabus. I'm not exactly sure when this one is due, but I'm sure you probably have it. Did I show you my recording? Nope. Okay. So questions from either Denise or Lance? Does that mean you don't have questions, Denise? By the way, if you do have questions as you get into this, Mark, it's okay to send me a quick email. I'm happy to answer those. Or you know, if it really is beyond just a quick question, it's a longer thing, you know, contact me and say, hey, could we schedule another GoToMeeting? Happy to do that. Lance, do you have any questions?
No, I barraged Robin with some questions earlier, and I'll still have some during the week, but I'm just now getting into everything.
Okay. So, you know, feel free to get in touch with me if you have questions. I don't want you to sit there and go, oh, God, you know, I don't know what to do with this. Because, again, my goal is really to have you guys understand this. And I appreciate how hard all of you are working, because I know you're working hard. It's a tough course. But you are working hard, and I really can see for just about everybody that has been really working at this that there's definite improvement in how everybody's doing. So I'm happy about that, and I just hope that you can hang in there through, you know, some of the more frustrating aspects of this not coming easily for many of you. So I don't know. I don't really have anything more because this assignment is really very much like number 5. And so I don't know what else to say, but I am happy to answer any additional questions that anybody has. And if you don't, I think we'll just hang up, and I will leave it to you to be in touch if you need some additional help during the week. So if I don't hear any questions, I'm going to call this a GoToMeeting or end a GoToMeeting. Okay, and good luck, and I'll be talking with you. Okay.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right. Bye.